The revival of King of the Hill is really great so far. I've only seen 3 episodes out of, I want to say 10, and I was laughing out loud. They were really good. They were really well balanced. It's been good. Now, friends of mine have been very nervous about these series because they hold Bobby Hill very close to their hearts. And, after so many reboots and sequel series about, the kid you saw as a kid growing up and, becoming parents and having boring jobs, yada yada. Yeah, yeah. I personally have been worn down by it, kind of dulled to where I thought no matter what they do, they can't really upset me because I've stopped feeling. Very sad. That's what you've done to me, modern television and streaming. That's what you've done to me. But I was excited to see how Bobby Hill turned out. I mean, despite his incredibly conservative parents and his own, you know, habits of silliness, I wanted to see how he was as an adult. Did he outgrow the need to please Hank? I'm happy to say yes. Adult Bobby Hill is quite lovely. Yes, he's still sweet, he's still very creative, but he's less excitable, I guess because he's in his 20s now and he has like a real job and a life that he's quite proud of. He's a chef with experimental food and he's doing the dirty work of cleaning up the whole kitchen before he goes out. Ugh. God, it's hard to see, but I'm also proud to see him doing the stuff. I know how like tedious and drudging it is, but I'm proud that he's still doing it. And he's not doing it with a Stepford smile, just more of it's the job, I don't want to do anything else, so I'm going to put it up. I'm putting up with the parts I don't like. So props to you, man, props. And it's not just that, he loves his job and his whole career and all that, it's more stuff. Apparently, Bobby didn't go to college, but he has a lot of wisdom and knowledge with it, so I'm guessing he just like kind of apprenticed at other places and just like picked up stuff as he was working, and it has made him like certifiably very brilliant. And his social life, the first episode does have him hooking up with this cute girl his own age, and when she very gently says, this was a one-time thing, Bobby doesn't get upset and petty about it. No, he very gallantly just, respects what she's saying and moves on. He had fun. He can't stay mad at that. He wasn't mad at all. I loved seeing that. Something to aspire to, gentlemen. And yeah, so Bobby is doing pretty good. He is taking things gracefully. I will say that despite all of Hank's drawbacks as a man and as a parent, at least he taught his son integrity, and it is really helping him in his work life. And how are Hank and Peggy? While he was, out of our lives and off of TV, so he didn't exist anymore, and he, in a spiritual way, didn't witness the world changing. The, writers of this series were very smart in how they sent Hank and Peggy to Saudi Arabia, of all places. So they've been sort of like separated from America and, what's been happening since. I mean, of course, they watch the news, but it's different because now they come back to Arlen and apparently it's woke or a little too much. Not so much that Hank rages because Hank is not a rager, but more of it just kind of, makes him squirm a little. But not in a way so much that's offensive as much as poor boomer. Ugh, and that is what I can appreciate. That is what I've always appreciated about Hank Hill. Where, yeah, he doesn't understand the all gender thing. Not because he wants to fight about gender, but just more that he wants his privacy too. And it's like, I don't want to present my maleness to a lady in the restroom. I mean, yeah. Yeah, no one wants to, really. The fact that people overthink about it at all is so silly. The thing that has always been great about Hank Hill is that, yes, he is conservative white bread, but he is like so ridiculous about it while still being a respectful adult, but he's like so uptight with it without being like rude or obnoxious. It's balanced in a way that's very, very laughable, okay? Like, yes, a lot of things make Hank uncomfortable, but not completely unreasonably so. And yes, he chooses to be kind and gentlemanly about it far more than anything else. Yes, does he think soccer is stupid? From his perspective, it's a wimpy sport where kids don't really like try too hard. And the show made it so that it is like extra gooey and soft. Now, I had like a sibling in soccer, and I can say they were really like, they worked hard at it, they sweated, they got dirty. So, yeah, maybe not as hard hitting as football, but that's what made the show so funny. So, despite Hank being super conservative, he is not rude. He is not going to argue with anybody about it so much. He is just going to ask for civility. Like at the very end of the first episode, he runs into these scouts. Not Girl Scouts, not Boy Scouts. I mean, they're little girls, but they're just, scouting. They're selling cookies. And Hank is like, I could not find Samoans anywhere. Do you kids have those cookies? And they're like, we don't call them Samoas anymore, sir. They're just called Caramel Delights. It was offensive to Samoans, and it's just nice to be nice. And Hank can't really argue with that. It's simply nice to be nice. And he still gets his cookies. Different name, but he still gets his cookies. So that was sweet. That was far more mature. And that is what I really love about Hank Hill. He strives to be mature for most things. Better than people do in real life, honestly. And I don't know, in that way, I think it makes him a good role model. Doesn't mean I agree with his weird philosophies in the life and his stubbornness, but yeah, for a cartoon character, just like parodying. But for a cartoon character, he's pretty wonderful and how he is like molded. Oh, and Peggy is still such a weirdo. She is just so extra in all that she does. Even though, she's got some wrinkles now and she's retired, she's still very funny and silly and just all over the place. And I gotta be honest with you, when I was watching the episodes and like Bobby was bringing his laundry over so his mom could do it, first I was like, my machine's broken. And then he admitted, I have a full-time job. Can I just get some help? Yeah, while Peggy is happy to do it and also to ask, what's your favorite meal? Because she just wants her son to hang out with them, her and her husband, and that's sweet. It actually made me text my mom because it's like, no, she tries to do stuff like that, and I thought that was cute. And Bobby with his parents, he's patient with those boomers. He's very patient with them. It's not so much that he wants to teach his dad a better way as much as he wants to, share in his life, share what he does know with his dad when it comes to grilling or getting a hobby at beer making. Yeah, he just wants to share his life with his dad. He's no longer feeling like, the kid that has to prove something and like earn his dad's love. He knows he has it, and he knows that he and his dad disagree about stuff, and he's made peace with it. Hank, being a stubborn old man, he's still disappointed and confused, but a great line is that after he has a disagreement with Bobby about, him cooking with charcoal instead of propane. Yes, Bobby does that for pretty good reasons, but anyway. After the disagreement, it's not a heated argument, but it is still thick with, disappointment on both ends. Hank is like, that boy ain't right. And then Peggy's like, Hank, Bobby is not a little boy anymore. He is making his own choices. And he's like, all right, fine. That man ain't right. It's like, yep. Hank is aware the world has changed. Doesn't mean he has to like it. God. And the third episode actually made me laugh so hard. It cleansed my soul. I laughed so hard and rich and deep. Okay, so Bobby is a white boy and he is cooking Japanese, like German fusion style food. And the charcoal he's using, his supplier closes down. He's trying to get another supply. And him branching out and asking new people is leading to like all these arguments with other people about, who owns certain aspects of culture, how much is appropriation, how much is sincere and, done with love. Like Bobby is sincerely, trying to cook with love, with inspiration from what he has like understood and experienced. And so, yeah, you root for him because he's being sincere about it, but you can also get the other people's perspective about how, yeah, seeing somebody else represent their culture makes it feel like a prop. But what I really loved was how he and his friends were talking about voice acting and how, like, this one dude played all these different characters and how, yeah, that was cool back then, but now it'd be disappointing because, like, certain ethnicities, like certain races and such, they couldn't get roles back then. They can barely get the roles now. So To know that there weren't options for everybody was really unfair. But you can still respect somebody for having the talent and ability to, like make so many different personalities and bring out so many different characters. So I thought that was well balanced. I thought that was a fair argument. And what's really funny is that you remember Joseph Gribble? Yeah, yeah. So apparently he never found out about his mom's affair or that his dad isn't really his dad. I know there was some discussion about aliens back in the day, but to this day, when he is in his 20s, he still considers himself a full white guy. And yeah, he's talking about it, saying, "Oh, as a white guy, I can't wear anything at Halloween anymore." And Bobby's like cooking friend like wants to say something, but then Bobby like looks at him and is like, "We don't talk about it." Yeah, apparently that polite silence that the alley has, been all about with Dale's family has like gone to the next generation. And that's another thing I loved, like especially in the second episode where it showed that both generations, like Hank's boomer friends and Bobby's millennial friends, both are idiots for different reasons. Like, oh my god, like it's just so funny how both groups of men are stupid in different ways, in different flavors, but both are stupid. So no one's really right. So the best you can do is like be civil about it and try and find a little common ground. And that is what the Hillmen do. As father and son, they try to just hang out, and after a little, like, very healthy bickering, very normal bickering, like nothing gets too much and no one is really mean about it. It's slightly funny in a sort of sitcom-y way, but nothing like unforgivable is said. And that's nice. Oh, how are Hank's friends? Well, everyone looks older, and if you feel strange looking at these characters a little more wrinkly, understandable, but I don't know. Reminds me of how when I look at my parents and how I realize how much wrinklier they are now. Like, I can't believe my parents were in their 60s, but they are. So, anyway, Dale has not changed a bit. They changed his voice actor because I think the original person had passed. And this guy does not sound like him, but he is pulling it off. So, yeah, he understands the assignment, so I respect it. Oh, and he trained Joseph to be like a mini version of him with his whole espionage. Yeah. His weird, like, ranting and all of that is like now on YouTube, or at least sounds like people on YouTube. So, yeah, the bridging of the generations of stupidity, once again, how it's done. Well done, well done. It reminds me of the kind of nonsense my father watches on YouTube. Ugh. Scary but true. Let's see. Oh, Boomhauer. Yes, he's wrinkly. I didn't think he was the smoker, but it kind of looks like he is now. But most likely he's probably just over tanning. Anyway, he has a stepson now, and yeah, it's nice. He wants to hang out with his new stepson, who's like a 12-year-old boy. But he also knows that, yeah, there are some boundaries because I'm not really your dad, and you just met me, so we're getting to know each other. And on both sides, they want to. It's a little awkward, but they want to, and that's nice. And then there's Bill, who somehow just got fatter. We can't blame COVID, that was years ago. We instead blame automatic deliveries through apps and Netflix just going on a loop. The fact that, Bill is one of those people that has to do the wellness check. I thought that was a joke. No, I have never actually known anyone in my personal life to need the wellness check, like to just stream over and over again and just like endlessly to the point where they're like, "Are you still alive?" Like Netflix has to ask you that. I have never met anyone in real life who got to that point, so I kind of thought it's a joke. But no, apparently it's real. And apparently Bill is one of those people. Yeah, yeah. And honestly, I'm not even like, I was addicted to the delivery system for a minute just because it was so much easier. Not to the point where I didn't go outside, but just more of I don't have time to cook. But wow. Just, the way they're doing all this is so nice. Like, watching Peggy do yoga, maybe Pilates, like, at home. Like, watching it on her laptop as she does it at home. Oh, I related so hard to that. It was so cute. And Hank watching a sequel series, like in his world of a show he liked with subtitles, and Peggy's like, oh, the subtitles are wrong. And Hank still doesn't have the heart to tell his wife that she's wrong. Oh, God. I can't tell if it's love or just him giving up and trying to talk rational to her. But the fact that he still just lets her be, I'm very confused if it's not hopeless or cute. Maybe both. Maybe that's kind of part of Peggy's charm. And the charm of their marriage, where he's happy to let her live in her delusions and she supports his freaky obsession with propane. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, Nancy is talking more in the series. Dale's wife, the woman that was cheating on him, and she seems to still be cheating on the less Studley John Redcorn. So, yeah, the fact that they're back together, I'm honestly a little happy about. I shipped them back in the day. He has never, known about it, but the fact that he has always loved, Nancy and John Redcorn so much, to the fact that he was never aware of their affair on him, was so hilarious and sweet in a very sick way. So to know that they're still, they reunited in affairing, I don't know, it just feels like, oh, it's part of the family in a way. TV is so crazy. There hasn't been Luann yet, or her family, and I'm curious, Brittany Murphy has passed. Do I want to hear who they got to replace her? I do. Am I scared to look it up? I am resisting spoilers because I'm enjoying this so much, but I am curious to know how they're going to handle it. Or is it going to be like the Full House reboot where they mention Michelle, but we never see the twins? Let's see. Oh, Connie is back, and she has turned into a very pretty young lady. Yeah, it's hinted that she's dating Chang Wasana-san, who has grown up to be, well, frankly, quite attractive, but is also Bobby's spoiled business partner, who's not really his partner as much as just a dude that kind of hangs around because his dad is funding Bobby's dream. So Bobby puts up with it with amazing grace, I gotta say again. But so far in these 3 episodes, Bobby has just been very excited to, run into Connie that one time again. Now, I'm not saying they have to get back together just because they were in love when they were 13, but it would be kind of cute. It would. And honestly, even if they don't, I just want to see them hang out again because, yeah, they were just really good friends to each other. I want to see them, rehash that. Bobby still has his lifelong friendship with Joseph, and while Joseph is such a dumb weirdo, the loyalty they share is still very sweet. So, yes, if I were to see that with, Bobby and Connie too, I would be happy. I would. So, only 3 episodes in, I am laughing and feeling and thinking, and just, it's been good. It's been very good. Yay, King of the Hill! If I never ever have another reboot of anything else from my childhood, I would be so happy. I pretty much hate all other reboots, but this one is actually good to me. Amazing.